So we're back. Had a little bit of a cliffhanger there. How very exciting. I mean, you kind of figured you knew what was going to happen. We literally just said, "Oh hey, there's a big effing ward there," but whatevs. You need to stop saying whatevs, really. I don't think I had shown this off yet. This is just another one of the perfect. He's immune to whatever that is. Immune to dirt. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. I did have a strategy guide for this. I'm sure I don't still have it because I didn't still have the game, and I can't imagine. Who knows? I try to cut these as best as humanly possible. It's sometimes not great because the menu is really fluid, like when you're switching between stats and equipment, so it's not great. I don't like when they give you stuff and it's not in a chest. Like, I understand it doesn't make sense to have things in chests because that's not a thing that people do in real life. You know, that's not something that's happening, but it's alright. It just seems like it makes more sense than just having a glowing orb that's like, hey, this is a sword. I would do like the idea that they come back to the, Aranel and all the other elves, and they're just like, there's a lot of like bows and capes and shields and stuff over there, like just sitting there where all your people were. Like, you guys gonna take that? Can we just have that? Is that all right? Like, I know some of that stuff you guys don't use, like axes, which why that's there I have no idea. But yeah. I did look up because I hadn't found a lot about East Emnet Gullies and I didn't know where it was. And the only thing I could see was that it is in Rohan, which I'm not sure why the elves are there if it's in Rohan. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Like, I guess it's such a big area, and Rohan, like, at this time right now, King Theoden's kind of like not really all with it, so he probably doesn't really care if people are just traipsing around his land, I guess. But you'd think some of his people would be like, hey, there's some elves over there, like, they're not really, they didn't really say what they're doing, they're just kind of chilling and just kind of killing orcs and stuff. I guess if they're killing orcs, they're like, hey, you do you, like, as long as you're not messing with us, we don't really care. It just seems like it would be nice to say something. But I did look up, so it's by the Entwash, which is like a river, which I think I must go by Fangborn Forest, I'm pretty sure, because that's like, it's kind of like all the emptiness just kind of washes out there, I guess? I don't know. Very creative name. I did look up too, and this is entirely unrelated to East Emnet Gullies, but there's no other better place to put this. I was like, so we know where the elves come from, we know where the men come from, and we know where the dwarves come from. What about hobbits, though? Because nothing I read said anything about, like, oh, this guy made the elves, or this guy made the hobbits, or whatever. And, yeah, we don't know. Like, it says the hobbits are like, yeah, we don't know where we're from. We're just kind of there. We just kind of came from whatevs. Like, they don't know. They know that they're, like, similar to men, but they don't really know how that happened, so that's about it. Like, it did say that they thought they came from somewhere around the Valley of Anduin, which is between Mirkwood and the Misty Mountains, so they knew that, but that was about it. And they did live around, there were some of them around the area, I think it's called Gladden Fields, which is where Isildur got, like, jumped by all those orcs and he lost the ring, and then Smeagol found it. So Smeagol was one of the hobbits that was living there, and then, that's how he got into all of that stuff. The wargs, too, I did look up them a little bit. So the wargs, like, on here, they're just like, they're wolves. They're big old, growly monster wolves, whatever. In the books, they have a language. Like they talk somehow. I don't know how, but they do. And they have some kind of intelligence. Like, they're sort of aware. And it kind of said something like it's not really clear how they're aware. Like, if, because they weren't made like that. Like, none of the singing demigods or anything was, like, singing about, sentient wolves or anything, but there's a couple different things. It could just be that when the orcs die, that some of their souls just go into big wolves, which, okay, I guess. Whatever floats your boat. The other thing is that there used to be werewolves back in the First Age. And that was basically where Sauron was just like, hey, I got a soul, I got a wolf, how about I put this soul in this wolf? I heard you like souls, so I got you a soul for your wolf. And so just kind of crammed them in there, and they're thinking that maybe they're like, kind of like descendants of them or something like that. I don't know. It's not quite clear. Fast forwarded this because it's more wargs, more chieftain dudes. Nothing crazy to see here. Trying to build up all my stats. Gotta build the stats. Not a whole lot to go on. I did finally get, speaking of another Lord of the Rings game during the Lord of the Rings game, I did finally get Shadows of Mordor, and it's pretty good. It's very fun. It doesn't really have any replay value that I'm aware of because it's a little repetitive. I mean, parts of it are repetitive, and it just kind of is like, But it was fun, and I got the Game of the Year edition, so it had like some DLC that was with it already, so that's cool. And I do like that it has a little bit more information about some of the lore, like the whole thing, which I won't spoil what the game is exactly. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's a huge spoiler, but like the secondary sort of character, like the number 2 in that. I mean, I'm pretty sure that didn't come from like Tolkien. Pretty sure in the books that's not a canonical thing, but whatever. Like, I'm fine with when they do stuff like that. Like, the only thing is when they do that in, like, an actual movie or an actual, like, hey, we're acting like this is a real thing. Whenever someplace, not just this, series or franchise, but when, like, they try, all of a sudden just kind of try to cram in, like, hey, we've read this good fan fiction, we feel like putting that into the story, actually. Like, I don't know. I don't like that collaborative stuff. I like the idea that the author is just writing stuff and he's like, no, I have this plan, I know what I'm doing, I'm putting this stuff down. I abandoned all hope because, clearly Aranel doesn't give a shit and just sent, whoever the heck you guys are. Like, seriously. Well, this guy gave me a scene. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. How thoughtful of you. Just like the idea of them standing around like, I'm just gonna watch this scene now. And they're like, what are you staring at? You're just looking at the wall over there. What are you doing? I do wonder, I never really looked up, and I don't know if it's a thing from the books either. That's something else I'll look up. There you go. But, like, when they have the, like, 6-fingered hand on the, I don't remember, I think it's only Saruman's guys, because they have the white hand of Saruman is what they call it. But it must not be Saruman's hand, because he only has 5 fingers on hand, so I don't really know. I don't know what that is. He just sticks on, like, he just kind of tapes a little piece of wood to his hand. He's like, oh, look, I have 6 fingers. Isn't it cool and creepy looking? Ooh, like, he's just trying to scare everybody. Like, I don't know. It's kind of a little confusing. Not really sure. It's like, it takes it's pretty laborious painting these hands on these shields, but it is worth it. You need to have an aesthetic. Saruman has that hand aesthetic down. I love when it goes fast like that, when he hits the warg or somebody with his axe like that. It's just like, wow, just like hits him. Like, it's like he's smacking us doing an uppercut with that, which is like, just breaks their jaw into like thousands of pieces. Right around here, when you're in this area where there's like different levels, sort of, the mini-map doesn't make it super easy, because you have to rely on the mini-map, especially in this area. And so, like, a lot of the time if I'm running around, and I do this with a lot of other games, not just this one, but it's like, if there's a mini-map, I will use that, and like, if I'm driving, that's all I'm gonna use. Like, I may not even be looking at the actual, like, screen. Like, the only difference would be, like, this game doesn't have it at all, but like, if you're in like an open world game and there's like cars going by, or there's people walking on the sidewalk or something, you kind of have to look at the screen because the mini-map doesn't probably show those, but it's a little interesting. I do wonder how, because like a different sword, like I understand how that could be more damaging or whatever, because it's like, oh, this is sharper, or this is made of better steel, but like a bow, I mean, I guess it's the same thing. I'm really probably just splitting hairs. But It's I just don't get how it's like, oh, well, this one is made out of beech wood, and it has this string, so it hurts people more. Like, if you had different arrows, that would make more sense, because they're what are actually hitting people. Though I guess the bow determines the speed of the arrow, so that could affect something, but I don't know. It's just a little odd, I guess. I do really think that they should make like an actual proper like open world like Lord of the Rings game, because I had thought that Shadow of Mordor. I love the game. I just keep forgetting what it's called, but I thought at first I was like, oh, that's probably an open world game, right? Because I just like open world games. I just do. I like to be able to explore. Hey, I'm back. Like, could you stop shining that light in our faces? Like, it's kind of annoying. Like, I get that you're, like, resurrected and shit, but could you just not do that? Like, that would be great. It's not helpful at all. It's like, hey, remember, you have to do this shit. But yeah, I thought it was an open world game, and it's not. It's just kind of, I mean, it is technically, like, there's an area you can walk around, but, like, it's not like you're really, I don't know. It's hard to describe. Like, you're just kind of going around, like, killing random orcs and trying to build up stuff, and then you have different missions that you go to and you do stuff, and, like, you just sign up and you're like, hey, I want to do a mission. Like, you know how some games will have, like, you can have these different concurrent things, like, kind of like, I'm thinking Skyrim in particular, just thinking of that, or probably any of the Elder Scroll games, something like that. You can kind of do one part of a mission, and then you do another, you know, you go right next door, and you do another part of a mission, and, like, it's not like they're self-contained, but in that game they are. You're in Shadow of Mordor. Got some wraiths. I don't know what they're doing here. Like, we go back to Aranel. It's like, Aranel, what the hell, man? You could have, like, told us that there were freaking, like, Nazgul in there. Like, I'm just expecting some, like, one orc with, like, a bow, and there's, like, the freaking wraiths up in here. Like, what the heck? I do think this game is a little perplexing, because I don't know the exact number of times and number of Nazgul that you fight, but there's, like, I feel like an inordinate amount, because there's only 9. Like, there were the 9 kings of, I think they were the kings of men that turned into Nazgul, and, like, one of them, at least, I know one of them was killed at Weathertop in, like, Fellowship of the Ring, which this is, you know, after or the very, very end of. You know, if Gandalf's already dead and just came back, you know, it has to be the end of that, if not the beginning of Two Towers time. And so one of these guys is already dead, so that's 8 at, you know, the most. And I feel like you probably fight 8, I mean, at least, I don't know. There's a couple of these, at least, that have 3 of them together, and there's one that has 1, and I don't know. And they all die at the end. It's not like at the end of all of these, they kind of, like, you know, blow up or whatever. So it's not like they're just go like, okay, well, bye, and just run off after a certain amount of damage, so I don't know. He's doing Thriller to attack me. Some of the status effects, I feel like the image for them could be a little more indicative of what they are. Like the sleep one, like you can tell, like their heads down and they're like, you know, I don't think they're Z's, I don't think, but you know, it looks like they're asleep. Or like even paralysis, it kind of looks like, hey, there's stuff on their legs, like they can't move. But I think that red thing, I'm pretty sure that's the one where it damages you, like, progressively. And, like, I don't feel like that's, you know, just like, oh, red orb that cracks over my head. That means, like, persistent damage. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me. Aimed shot. Because all the other shots, you're just kind of randomly throwing arrows at them and not really trying. When they move, sometimes, like, the orb will stay in the back, kind of, but it kind of tries to go with them at first. And it's like, oh, okay, oh, wait, no, I should stay back here, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. My bad. It's the only thing with these, you have to talk over the music. Talk over it. Hide your shame. Don't really get why they do that, though, to be honest, because they ask you, like, when you're setting these, like, adding these videos, you're like, you know, hey, what game title are you playing? We recommend you put that there. And I'm like, do they recommend it so as to better copyright claim? Like, I don't know. There's another use of power, the Valor. Because the Nazguler, they can get a little difficult. You know, they have a fair bit of health. And they don't have a whole bunch of, like, crazy attacks. Like, they're not going to do... I don't think they have any status effects on their stuff. They're just, you know, hit, other type of hit, other type of hit. But they can get a little... I don't know. They're persistent. I'll say that. I do like the idea, like, one of the aspects of RPGs that I don't, like, because I don't play RPGs, like I said, that much, but one of the aspects of it that I like is the idea of, like, having to remember, like, okay, well, this kind of thing is immune to this ailment, or this kind of thing, you know, spirit attacks are good against it, or whatever, like, having to remember that stuff. Just because some games, you know, more hack and slashy sort of games, it's kind of like, this guy just is stronger, this guy has more defense, and that's it, and there's really, other than level of defense, there's no real difference between what they do. And so to have something where you have, like, different, you know, oh, this guy's immune to this, or whatever, I think that can help out with that. And then you have to remember it, like, across however many days it takes you to play it, you're having to remember stuff, so... I guess that's better. It seems more impressive to me, because I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, well, I beat that game in 2 days, like, I just played it for 2 days straight, and that's it. Like, I am never going to be one of those people. Like, I'll play for a long time. I'll play for, you know, a few hours at a time, but I'm not going to, you know, take a whole day and be like, okay, 8 hours, Lord of the Rings, let's go. Just because, I don't know, I mean, I have crap to do, and I feel like I'm really lazy if I don't do that. Like, I have a hard enough time making myself do crap, but, like, that, you know... doesn't help out in that front whatsoever.
We plan to ambush some Isengard Uruk-hai.
What?
What shall my group do?
You're gonna ambush some Uruk-hai, huh? Oh, okay. I'll be happy to help you ambush those Uruk-hai right over this hill. Yeah. Like, maybe don't say that. Because some of these scenes are confusing because it kind of implies, like, oh, hey, he's been following us the whole time, but it's like he doesn't help us. Like, right here he's helping us, but, like, it's not like it looked like he was kind of already with us. It's not like we said, oh, hey, what's up, dude? And he's like, shh, I'm gonna ambush these guys. Like, he just kind of, it's like, yeah, we're gonna do this now. We all are. And I'm like, okay. This one's a little, it's an interesting fight, but it can get really annoying quickly because you have to do range stuff. I like the idea that some of them are immune to arrows of sleep because it makes it seem like they cannot sleep. It just means you can't make them tired? Like, I don't know. It's like, no, we don't get tired. It's like, but you're also Uruk-hai there. It's like, no, we just don't sleep. Like, okay, alright. Yeah, Barathor is not very much help in this one. He can do War Call and he can do, like, Company Valor and crap like that, but that's really all he's doing here. He's not doing a lot. I still cannot think of who that actor is. Like, he does look a little bit like, there was this actor on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. He was only on, like, I think 1 episode, maybe 2, but he played a different character. He was, this guy in season 6, when Willow was, like, kind of going over to the darker side of magic, and she went to that one, like, place where there was that dude that was, like, this magical dude, and he was, like, kind of, I don't know what the best way to describe what he was doing was just giving her some kind of weird magical orgasm. Like, they weren't having sex, but just somehow he was doing this magic stuff, and she was all, like, just real happy about it, and just kind of, I mean, that was about it, just panting and stuff. And he said, like, you taste like strawberries. And I'm like, alright. Like, I don't, like, he wasn't licking her. He was just, like, I don't know. It was, like, her magic tasted like, I don't know. But he looks like that dude. Yeah, I'll rejoin you then. Okay, sure. You could help us I can help you this one time, but I have other stuff to do, okay? I need to file my taxes. I'm sorry. Like, I'll meet you later, okay? I have more important shit to do right now. Yeah, here it's kind of, I don't know. There's parts where the minimap doesn't exactly match up to everything else. It's not super clear, like, oh, okay, here's where you go. So there's going to be some kind of awkward cuts, like nothing too much. Just parts where it was like, you know, I got something and I'm like, wait a second, did I go there? Where did I go? So this is what happens if you try to go to the blockade and they're like, yeah, no, you didn't do enough shit yet. Like, I think what you have to do is I don't think you have to find every elf or do every, like, mission in this. I think you just have to do, like, a certain number of them. I don't think it's like they assign a certain value, like, you need so many, you know, I did shit points, and then you can do it. I don't think it's like, and then certain missions are 1 point and certain are 2. I think it's just like, oh, you did 5 of 7, so okay. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Because none of the other ones, like, there are certain ones you have to do, and the other ones are just kind of like, if you want to do it, great. If not, who cares? Racking up a lot of the perfect modes, like crazy in here. Though actually, maybe that was just Aranel doing an arrow volley that I remember. I don't know. I don't know what I'm watching. I have no idea. Apparently Aranel just has a whole bunch of twin brothers, because, like, they all look exactly the same. We all really like this style of clothing, too. It's like, well, we're going back there eventually, too, to the blockade. Do you want to just stay with us and help us fight, like, the orcs and stuff? No. It's like, but I mean, like, we have our elf lady literally having to, like, resurrect us, like, all the time to do stuff. Like, no, I'm good. It's like, oh, okay. I just decided to speed it up here just because I'm, like, just running around, and it takes a while sometimes to get places, and I'm like, okay. I don't really know how they decide, like, there's certain areas, maybe it has to do with where there's cutscenes, but there's certain areas where, like, you'll see your little Palantir thing, like, glowing, it's, like, getting up there, and then all of a sudden, or not the Palantir, the Iris Sauron, and then it'll be building up, and then you get to this one specific area, and it's like, oh, okay, no, never mind, sorry. Like, it just clears out whatever you had. So I don't know how it decides where to do that, but I don't know. I just wanted to show that thing. I don't know why. I mean, it's not really... it's not important. I just wanted to leave that in. It's thematic goodness. You know how I do. Imagine if the orcs didn't disappear, then you just run around here for, you know, days and days, killing all the orcs, and they're just like, look, there's a bunch of bodies around here. Like, I don't know what we're gonna do. Like, I wonder what they did after, like, you know, the Battle of, Pelennor Fields, or, which was, like, what's it called? Like, for Minas Tirith and stuff like that, where, like, after that battle, because they had, like, 100,000 orcs, or however many orcs they had out there, and then, like, most of them are dead, just laying there. Like, I don't know. Just what did they do with all of those? Like, afterward, they're just like, look, we just have to light, like, all in front of our city on fire, or they dig, like, the hugest pit in the world. Like, I don't know. Just use some, it's like geothermal energy. You just put a whole bunch of them in, like, a kiln, and you're like, here, we get to use some, you know, some heat to heat the city. It's great. Looked very triumphant there. It was nice. Looks like a, I don't know, Rosie the Riveter or something. I don't know why I'm saying that. Why do I say these things? They could do better with the objective system with, like, here's how you go somewhere, here's how you do stuff. Like, there's, I mean, like, and I point out flaws with this game, I really do, but it is just a great game. It is. It's, like, very, I don't know. It's fun to do, and, like, it has replay value, and I can't tell you why. Like, I really don't understand why it does. Like, there's nothing objectively, like, really, it's not like it changes every time you play it or anything, which I don't, you know, you wouldn't expect it to. It's a PS2 game. It's not going to be, you know, the most riveting and, like, you know, mind-blowing thing in the world, but I don't know. It just, because, like, when you replay it, it's not going to be different. It's going to be pretty much the same thing. You're not going to have, you know, oh, what decisions will you make in an Elagos relationship or whatever, but it's just fun to play over again, to go to these different areas and to see everything again, and just the different, you know, things that show up, watch the different scenes, things like that. Some of these ones I left, like this one, you would think like, okay, well you skip those other ones, but these ones also have like two characters or two enemies you've already fought. But this one I know you get an item afterwards, and I think it's part of a mission, I'm not sure. So, you know, I figured, hey, if it's noteworthy enough that the game says, hey, you get like a piece of equipment, then let's leave it in. Like, that's basically what I decided. I did also see when I was looking up just random, like where hobbits come from, all that crap, I saw that Ecthelion, which I think that's how you pronounce that, was an elf, which surprised me because I figured, you know, if little Gondor man over here has Ecthelion Wrath, I figured it would be a man thing, not an elf thing. So, no. I don't remember exactly what Ecthelion did. I know he was like, I don't know, some kind of warrior dude, I guess, but I don't particularly remember, but I know he was an elf. More running around. Like this area, like right here, this little heart-shaped little thing, like, it's like they wanted to do levels, but they didn't really get how to do it because, like, there's just the little edge around there where it's like, this is the lip of it, and then you're kind of like, okay, but where do I get down? Like, I don't know. I'm probably having much more trouble with this than is reasonable, but, I do like that Sauron, you know, makes them close. Because I feel like it would be a little bit, it would almost be like, you know, how some of the barbarians, you know, the different tribes in Europe used to, like, I know at least one of them, they would all, like, run into battle just naked and, like, screaming, because it would scare the crap out of people, because they're like, dude, what's up with these guys? So, I feel like it would be nice if you just had, like, 100,000 orcs out there in front of your town, and they're all just naked, just dicks flapping about and whatnot, you know? I do think this game would have benefited from having kind of like the way that Shadows of Mordor does it, is that they have, you know, at least one of the characters in there is an actual, you know, character from the books. Like, he's an actual dude. And it's better because it's like, it gives some kind of like credence to it, not just like, here's an elf and here's a dwarf and we just made them up. Like, it's somebody who's actually from the books, and it's just saying here's a continuation of their story, which I kind of like. It's something new, and it's not from the books, but it also features one of them, so you have some grounding in it. I don't know. I feel like it would have been a nice thing to do. But I mean, besides having like, oh hey, here's Gandalf showing up for 2 seconds. Like, that's a little different. That's not the same thing. So I'm gonna get the scenes here pretty soon, and evil mode, and then we should be good to go and finished up here with East Emnet Gullies.